With so many options, why choose Arizona State University?
For me, the only online option was ASU because of the quality. Their faculty was really involved with their students and care about your personal journey. The dedication to my personal development from my professors, that's been extremely valuable to me.
Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Explore more than 350 plus undergraduate, graduate, and certificate programs at asuonline.asu.edu.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
Yes! I feel like I've been waiting for this my entire life.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jolly good fun. Jolly good.
Locking down the middle of the day.
America's favorite daytime fun show.
Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour 2, Tuesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Not in the Raising Cane studio today. We are here at the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. Guarantee having a day of service here. Started up at this morning, 7 o'clock. OTB was here bright and early, so was Brian Haldane over on Talk 107.3. I'm currently sitting about 15 feet away from Michelle Southern over on Eagle 98.1, and there's Brittany Rose, a couple of chairs down over on 100.7. The Tiger, we're thrilled to be here. It's been an awesome day here, and this is an awesome organization here. I've talked at length over the first hour about the opportunity to volunteer, and they've had incredible volunteer support from the Baton Rouge community. Last year, almost 57,000 hours of service were donated here at the Baton Rouge Food Bank. They also would love it if you could support monetarily. They've got some purchasing power here because of the relationships that they've built with retailers and vendors, and so they can buy in bulk, they can buy in wholesale, and just $1 can provide up to 3 meals. So if you're so inclined to give monetarily, they certainly appreciate it here at the Baton Rouge Food Bank. Check out their website, brfoodbank.org. That's brfoodbank.org. I'll be honest with you, just going to lay it out there. When I put the show together this morning, my assumption was we were going to have some information about Prince William Munmielen and about Jordan Seaton. It is 2:03 on this Tuesday, and we don't have that. So we've got expert predictions. Shay Dixon over at On 3, the Bengal Tiger, has predicted that Seaton will be an LSU Tiger. We've heard from Matt Zenitz of CBS, who said that Seaton will not make the trip to Oregon, that LSU has got momentum, that he is listening to Miami. But there is nothing that has been announced officially. We know one fact in this case. If you are going to go to school at LSU in this spring semester, you have to enroll today. So that feels like a deadline, and we're getting close to the close of business. I feel like it's very likely that sitting in this very chair, talking into this very headset, at some point between 3 o'clock and 6 o'clock, Matt Moscona will have official news on this. My assumption, call it an understanding, if you will, is that LSU is going to get both these players. I think they're going to get Prince William Munmielen. I think they're going to get Jordan Seaton. And that would bring LSU's transfer portal haul to 41 players. 41. Remarkable. And it will have transformed my personal feeling about the 2026 football team in the course of 2 weeks. And you knew that was going to happen to some extent. You knew that LSU was going to have to be aggressive in the portal. They were going to lose some players. They were going to gain some players. They were going to probably go to Ole Miss and get some of those guys. And, you weren't sure how it was going to shake out when things cranked up officially on January 2nd. But you knew that it was going to be transformative. To what degree? I'm shocked. I don't know why, because Lane Kiffin has done this at Ole Miss. But I think it was the buildup. Because I'm speaking for me personally, not necessarily right or wrong thing, it's just how I felt. When I looked at this roster, the 2025 LSU roster, as they got on the bus to go to Clemson, I'm looking around at the defense, and I'm looking at Jack Pyburn and Patrick Payton and Jamari Butler, and I'm looking at Jacobian Guillory and Bernard Gooden and Whit Weeks and West Weeks and Mansour Lane and A.J. Halsey. This is the majority of your defense I felt was in there last year. Now, Whit came back, but a lot of those guys were seniors and had to move on. You were going to lose 9 starters or so off your defense. I'm looking at wide receiver. Barryon Brown, gone. Chris Hilton, gone. Aaron Anderson, gone. Xavion Thomas, gone. Like, these guys are out of here. Nick Anderson was in a potential draft year. I look at your situation at quarterback. You've got a fifth-year senior and nobody really behind him that you feel like is going to carry that torch. It just felt like everything was pointed to 2025. And when they lost to Ole Miss, and then they lost to Vanderbilt, and you knew the margin for error was gone, and you didn't feel like they were going to go on a run, my personal feeling looking at this was they're going to take a step back in 2026. That's how I felt about it. I just didn't feel, with that kind of investment and that many one-year players coming in, I just did not feel that LSU was going to be able to rapidly rebound in 2026. That's how I felt. I feel now, staring at this roster, that they got a chance to make the playoff. And, like, I don't like hyperbole. I think it lessens the value of your words. Like, I'm stunned at the amount of talent and depth they have been able to pull in. If you go, you get Sam Leavitt, number one player in the portal according to 24/7. That's the best quarterback there is. You go get the number one offensive lineman in the portal in Jordan Seaton. You go get 9 wide receivers. Kansas State's leader. Young talent from Ole Miss. You go to the offensive line, which was broken. You pull starter caliber players from the power conferences and plug them in. Not like 1, like 4. Edge rusher, Uman Mielen, led Ole Miss in sacks. Jordan Ross, former 5-star recruit. I was watching Jordan Ross highlights earlier today. You know the guy blocked a punt in his first college game? An edge rusher. Got back there and blocked a punt, picked it up and ran in for a touchdown. He's a pretty talented dude. 41 players they've added. I went and ran the numbers just to put it in front of me on paper. 3 quarterbacks, 4 running backs, 9 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, one of them kind of an H-back, 9 offensive linemen. That's 27 players on the offensive side of the ball. 27. And look on the defense. 6 defensive linemen. Only needed 1 linebacker because you literally did not lose a single linebacker that had eligibility left. So you get 1 linebacker, 3 safeties, a corner, and 3 specialists. And you're talking about a high level. It's one of those deals that I try to be open and honest about it. I can break down LSU's baseball roster. I can tell you whether or not I agreed with the decision to go for 2 or kick the extra point. There are things that happen on the field I'm very comfortable analyzing and discussing, bringing an opinion forward. There are things in this realm that I just don't have hard facts on. So it's hard to analyze. Can LSU do this every year? Can they go get the number 1 transfer portal class every year? Or is this a one-time deal because you got this amount of money pledged this spot and this amount of money allocated here, and it was just kind of a, hey, we're here, this is a new staff, we're ready to be aggressive, here we go? Are the people that cut these checks willing to do it again next year? Will they be willing to do it in 2031? Like, I don't know the answer to these questions. The long term, I don't know. But I can tell you in the short term, when I analyze this roster and I look at what LSU's done in the transfer portal, I think LSU's got a real chance to compete. Now, the schedule is brutal, and this is not a schedule discussion. This is a roster composition discussion. We'll talk about schedules in July, not today. But you look at the talent and the depth that they brought in over the course of these 3 weeks. I think it's completely outrageous to expect college coaches to have to do that, to have to try to retain their entire roster of 100 people, and then to go entertain 85 more in the transfer portal and sign half of them. I think it's a ridiculous way to run a sport. I do. But this group is good at it. And what they've done over the course of 2.5 weeks is to me stunning. It is stunning. And I believe they will get Seifert. I believe they will get Uman Mielen. I believe that gives you a strong offensive line. I believe that gives you proven edge rushers. I think you've got playmakers. I think you've got veterans. I don't see a significant weakness on this team. Last year at this time, I could look at the offensive line and go, I'm not sure about that. You're losing 4 guys. None of these guys have ever played. We'll see. I felt that all the way through the offseason. I can't look at this roster right now and find something that really concerns me. That can be proven wrong. And look, LSU was nowhere near competitive enough this past year. But when I think about what that offense is very likely to do with that brain trust calling plays and that defense taking the steps that it has under Blake Baker and the talent that they've got, it feels like a damn good team to me. And I just don't know that in November of this year, I was prepared to tell you that I thought it was likely that LSU was going to have a damn good team. I think they do now. Wild 2.5 weeks, 41 players in the boat if they can get these last 2. And I suggest over the course of the next 3 hours, over the course of the next 5 hours, that LSU will land those 2 last big fish. And you will have what looks to be the roster that you're heading into spring football with. But we'll see. If we find anything out officially, we'll certainly let you know over the course of the next 45 minutes.
Automotive.com. This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Here at the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank, guaranteed day of service. It's been a great day here at the Food Bank. They do just an incredible, incredible job here. It's an amazing operation, a huge, expansive operation here in Baton Rouge. We appreciate them for letting us come on in and do our shows here. Eagle 98.1 set up right next to me, 100.7 The Tiger as well. Brian Haldane did our morning show on Talk 107.3 from here a little bit earlier today as well. Matt will be here until 6 o'clock on AFR. So awesome day for Guarantee here at the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can sign up to volunteer at brfoodbank.org. LSU and Florida tonight from the O-Dome down in Gainesville. Defending national champs, the Florida Gators, who are really good. Their record is 13-5, which doesn't catch a lot of eyes. But if you look at who they've lost to, they lost to Arizona in the season opener. Wildcats are as good as anybody in college basketball this year. They lost to TCU, which kind of caught my eye in San Diego. And they lost a couple more. They lost to Duke in Rupp. That would be where Kentucky plays. In Cameron at the ACC SEC Challenge, lost that game by a point. Then they played against UConn up in Madison Square Garden and lost that game by 4. So you're losing games to Arizona, Duke, UConn. It's a little different dynamic than a lot of teams in the Southeastern Conference with their schedule. But this is a really, really good Florida team that boasts, I believe, the best front court in all of college basketball. You got 3 guys back from a championship team. You've got Ruben Chinyelu, who's just an enforcer down there on the block. Alex Condon, who is a really good player around the rim. And you got Thomas Hall, who can shoot the 3 at 6'9", 6'10". They're just really, really good in the front court. Those 3 guys are all forwards, centers for this team. That's their top 3 leading scorers and their top 3 leading rebounders. So it'll be very, very important for LSU to go down there and play well in the front court. Mike Nwoku, Markel Sutton, as well as Robert Miller. Now, on the backcourt side of things, Florida is not as good, and LSU may get a little bit of help tonight. DJ Thomas did go through some practice work today in shoot-around. He is questionable. I'm told there's a possibility DJ Thomas can give some minutes tonight for LSU. I don't know how much. I don't even know for sure that he will. But it sounds like he is potentially available tonight for LSU. And it's a rough spot maybe to get him back because I just don't think LSU is going to go to Florida and win. I don't think LSU is going to go to Arkansas and win. Those are 2 of the most talented teams in the SEC and 2 of the most difficult places to play in the Southeastern Conference. And so I don't have a ton of confidence that LSU is going to go either place and win. But you got to get DJ Thomas back for sure. You kept your season alive on life support with a win back on Saturday against Missouri. This was always going to be the most difficult spot on the schedule for LSU, the week where you got to go to Gainesville and then go to Fayetteville. Going to be brutal. That's what you got to do. Just part of the deal. You don't have to cry about it like Texas women's basketball coach, who apparently doesn't like playing difficult games back to back. Go figure. But LSU will in this instance, and you're going to have to outplay them at the guards. You got to try to hold your own around the basket, but with Hall and Condon and Chinyelu, you probably won't. You got to try to hold your own, but you got to win in the backcourt. LSU does. Boogie Fland, who's a transfer over from Arkansas, he runs the point a lot for this team. He shoots 21% from three. I mean, they're a bad three-point shooting team at this point. And so that's not what their game is. They're going to throw it down inside, and LSU's got to hold your own. You got to stay out of foul trouble. You got to hold your own. The other piece to this puzzle is the rebounding piece, and Florida will flat wear you out on the glass, as you would expect with what I call the best front court in college basketball. You're talking about a team that is number 2 in the country in offensive rebounding percentage. They rebound 43% of their misses. It's an absurd number. That crazy Kentucky team that should have gone undefeated rebounded 50% of their misses. I remember doing that, which is just absurd to think about. But this Florida team gets 43% of their misses, and on the defensive end, they do a great job. They're 4th in the country in defensive rebounding percentage. So they limit their opponents to one shot, and they often get more than one. And that's a good way to make a living. That's a good way to win basketball games, and Florida can absolutely do it. So this is not a great matchup for LSU to win. If you're asking me what LSU needs to win this game, you're going to have to get the performances that you've gotten in the last couple of games from your ancillary pieces. Max McKinnon is going to shoot 17 or 18 times tonight. He's going to make a couple of threes. He's going to score 18 or 22 points. You've now kind of penciled McKinnon in for that. He's good for that. The guys with the variance, Markel Sutton. Like, do you get the guy that was assertive and really good in Saturday and scored 26 points against Missouri? Or do you get the guy that is cratered like he did early in SEC play and goes 1 for 6 with 4 fouls and doesn't give you anything? You're going to have to get a great night from him. No question about it. You're going to have to get a great night from Rashad King running the point in whatever capacity he needs to. If DJ Thomas can give you 14 minutes, great. If he can give you 8, okay. Rashad King is probably going to start the game tonight, and he's got to win on the perimeter against a Florida backcourt that's not as good as their front court. And you got to get him knocking down a couple of threes. You can't have turnovers. You've gotten some good efforts from Rashad King. You've also had some games where he wasn't really a factor. Robert Miller, you're going to have to grow up tonight. You're going to be playing future NBA guys. You fancy yourself a future NBA guy? You need to go out there and play. LSU's a 15.5-point underdog tonight. I think LSU's going to get dusted in this game because I think Florida is that good, and I think that place is that difficult to play. It's just a bad spot on the schedule. It's why you can't lose to South Carolina at home. It's why you can't blow a lead against Kentucky with 1.7 seconds left, because there are games on this schedule I don't expect LSU to compete in, and this is one of them. Like, I wouldn't even feel good taking LSU to cover the 15.5 tonight, if we're being honest. Now, that's without really knowing what DJ Thomas is available for, but it's just tough. And you look at Florida's schedule and the way that they're playing right now, they had one hiccup, but they went to Nashville and beat Vanderbilt. I think you all know how good Vanderbilt is. They beat Oklahoma in Norman by 17. And Tennessee went to the O-Dome, where LSU will play tonight. Tennessee, good team. Tennessee lost by 24 in the O-Dome. So it is what it is. I watched the game tonight, no stress, because this is just not one you're getting. There are 18 of them. You got to find a way to win 8 of them. And this is not one of the ones you're going to win. So this is one of the 10 you're going to lose. And so it's a drag of a way to do a segment. It's a drag of a way to analyze a game. But I'm not going to sit here and blow smoke for no reason. Florida is a championship-level team, and LSU is not. So we'll see what the Tigers can do tonight. 15.5-point dogs. I couldn't even take LSU to cover. To do it, they're going to have to win in the backcourt, and they're going to have to find a way to hold their own against a three-man front court that is a terror on just about everybody that they play. So LSU in Florida tonight at 6 o'clock. Pregame at 5:30. You can find that on Eagle 98.1. It'll be Chris Blair and John Brady on the call from the O-Dome down in Gainesville.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge. 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Lifetime Roofing. You can find them online at lifetimeroofingla.com. I know most of the time when you think about getting a new roof, you think about a hurricane, you think about a hailstorm. That's not always the case. Sometimes you just need a new roof, and there wasn't an event that caused that. It's just old, and it's time to invest in a new roof. If that's the case for you, Lifetime Roofing is happy to help you with that. That can be an intimidating step to take financially, understandably, but they've got financing options. 0% for 18 months. Even if there has been an event and you are filing a claim and you have a deductible that's pretty sizable and you want to get a new roof and you want to go through insurance, but you need to finance that deductible as well, they can do that at Lifetime Roofing. They have a team that can help you do that. And if you get that new roof from the folks at Lifetime Roofing, as of January 1st, you can get a lifetime workmanship warranty, from the folks at Lifetime Roofing. Check them out online, lifetimeroofingla.com. That's lifetimeroofingla.com. Okay, the college football season is now in the rearview mirror. It's been a wild 3 weeks of transfers. And I want to lay some groundwork for this discussion before I dive in, okay? Because there are layers to what I'm going to talk about here with this issue in college football. And I've put a lot of thought into this segment. I think it is completely fair to say that few schools have benefited from the transfer portal more than LSU. Is that reasonably fair? I tell y'all all the time, when there's a new rule put in place, the first thing I look at is, well, how does that affect LSU? How does that affect LSU? And when you think about Paul Skeens and Tommy White, and you think about Anthony Ianson, and you think about Jaden Daniels, you think about Angel Reese, you think about Anissa Morrow, you look at what LSU has brought in: Heisman Trophy winners, SEC Players of the Year, national championship centerpieces. LSU has benefited greatly from the transfer portal. And I think that it is a positive that Paul Skeens can leave the Air Force Academy to come to LSU, where he gets better resources, better facilities, better coaching, better development, and becomes the best pitcher on earth. I think it's great that Jaden Daniels can leave Arizona State, come to LSU, and have his career blossom the way that it did, because he's got Malik Neighbors and he's got Brian Thomas. I think that's awesome. I think there are real positives in allowing players an opportunity to try something new. I think that is good, and I think LSU has benefited from it. So I am not here to tell you I think the transfer portal is bad and everything has to go back to the way that it was, and that I'm an old curmudgeon who's just not keeping up with the times in college football. That's not the point of this segment. But when I look around college football and I see Washington's quarterback signing a deal and then taking a phone call and then trying to leave after he signs the deal, and a conference stepping in and a coach stepping in and a program stepping in, and the mess that has created, that's bad. Today, when I look at Darian Mensah, who is attempting to go into the transfer portal and is literally being sued by his school. Duke University is suing Darian Mensah, who is trying to transfer to Miami, conceivably because Miami struck out in the transfer portal at quarterback, and they're throwing all the money they have at it. And that is bad. It is bad that Duke is suing its quarterback. And this deal where players can transfer on any whim, and that LSU is signing 41 players in the transfer portal, I just think is ridiculous. That's a subjective thought. You can agree with that completely. You can disagree completely. I think it's ridiculous. And I think it is time that we take this circus that we have created in December and January, where players are transferring while their team is competing for a national championship. Like Bo Prabula was on Penn State's team in the playoff. We had this transfer portal window. Well, he's leaving. They're still playing. You've got the coach at Ole Miss who's going to the playoff. He's leaving. Like, that is bad. It is bad when a coach is leaving a playoff team. It benefited LSU. That's great for LSU. But I'm just talking big picture. So what's the fix, Hunt? Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to fix that? Pandora's box is open. The genie's out of the bottle, whatever you want to talk about. Like, how are you going to fix it? Well, here's the deal. Here's what I would do. If you made me the czar, made me king of the college sports world, here's what I'm doing. You can transfer. Jump in the transfer portal, transfer. You don't have to sit out. You can do that once. You can transfer a second time. You will sit, or you need to have graduated. Because everyone being a free agent every year is just ridiculous. To me, it's ridiculous. And when I see the things that are going on, and the tactics that are being used, it just rubs me the wrong way. And I don't think I'm limiting people's opportunity as student athletes if I tell those people, you can transfer once, and then if you transfer again, you will sit out a year unless you have graduated. I don't think those are draconian penalties. If you want to tell me that in this multi-billion-dollar business, it's patently absurd for the student athletes to make $0 and for that to be illegal, I will absolutely listen to that argument. It's a big money game. It's a big money business. And for years and years and years and years, the student athletes put on the show and weren't compensated for that. It's like that is a harsh, harsh penalty to put on someone. You can't make any of this money. I don't think it's a harsh, harsh penalty to say you're transferring one time to not sit out. Because I don't feel like sitting here and clicking on Twitter and reading about more quarterbacks being sued for breach of contract by their – this does not happen in any other sport, anywhere else. So the enforceable portion of this to me is to go to one transfer unencumbered. And I think that's great. If you go somewhere and you decide, well, I don't fit in here, it was a mistake, or maybe your coach leaves and you want to leave, or maybe you just weren't going to get the playing time you wanted, transfer out. That's great. Get a fresh start. But this deal where you're hopping around every single time, and then you'll hear the deal, well, coaches can leave every time. Well, yeah, I mean, there are different standards for players and coaches. It's a different deal. I think that having some rules in place is okay. And we almost gotten to a point in collegiate athletics where there just aren't any rules. Like, the only rule I can come up with that I've found is you're not allowed to play for LSU on October 4th and Bama on October 11th. Like, that's about the only rule I can find. Everything else is just go do whatever you want. And, like, I think that's a little ridiculous. I think rules are okay. I think it's okay to put some guardrails in place. And I don't feel that I am robbing a generation of student athletes of an unalienable right to just transfer whatever you want. If I say you can transfer once, if you do it again, you got to sit. Because then you're going to essentially create some stability. And forgive me, I just think stability is okay. My favorite football program just signed 41 kids in the transfer portal. It's probably going to end up in a very successful football season with a really good coaching staff. My team will benefit from this and already has. I don't think any program nationally is going to benefit from the unlimited transfers like LSU baseball, because LSU baseball is one of 11 teams that care. So what you've done is you've turned the entire sport into a farm system for LSU, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Texas, Texas A&M, and name your other school. Like, you just – and so if this is not a sour grapes segment by me. My favorite team, LSU baseball, is the greatest benefactor of this. Skeens, White, Ianson, like national championships, 2 and 3 years. And I still think it's ridiculous. So, like, I've seen enough. I was thinking about doing this segment last week in the midst of all the craziness. I did not like the way that the Damon Williams things in Washington went. And that was LSU involved in it. And I still didn't like the way it went down. When somebody's a quarterback at a place and has agreed to be there, and then they're just fielding phone calls and can just leave high and dry in the middle, I don't find that to be a reasonable way to run a sport. And I don't find it to be a reasonable way to run a sport that Miami entertained its quote-unquote free agents, didn't get any of them, so they had to create a free agent and went and did so at Duke, and now Duke's filing suit against his quarterback. Nobody can look at this and go, yeah, I think we're making progress here. This is really good. It's not really good. It's stupid. So I think you got to put some rules in place. We've let all the rules go. Some of the rules were stupid, and we got rid of them. Some of the stuff that we do now I find to be stupid. And this Darian Mensah thing has kind of pushed me over the edge. I don't expect it to change. I think they're going to keep it as it is. We keep hearing coaches clamoring for change. We keep seeing media folks push back on that, and you see the great stuff that we saw on the field. And I want to be clear to kind of put a bow on this, because I opened with this today and I opened with it after the Sugar Bowl. Still, when they go out there and play, the sports are awesome. The sports are awesome. But everything that goes on to get to the field seems ridiculous. Like, I can't look at an ACC school suing its quarterback. I don't remember the last time the New York Jets sued their quarterback. I don't remember the last time the Yankees filed suit against their third baseman. There are clear signs here that we've gone a little bit too far. And you always get to, well, what's the answer? And I don't have an NIL answer for you. I don't know how to fix that. You're always going to have boosters that are motivated to spend heavy money and to win, and it's going to outpace the market. I don't have an answer for that. I'm not smart enough to figure out the NIL stuff and to put some guardrails on that. I can figure out the portal once. You transfer once. I don't expect that to happen. I don't expect anybody to agree with me, but I feel strongly about it after watching what we've watched here over the course of the last few years. A lot of businesses, a lot of industries have non-competes, and the wild, wild west of college football is just a little bit more than I can handle at this point. So there's my 2 cents on the transfer portal. I'm curious. I'll read the Bayou Ford chat in the commercial break and see if anybody actually agrees with what I'm suggesting. I've got a strong feeling the man who sits in this chair in 20 minutes will strongly disagree with that sentiment, but that's okay. It's a lovely place for disagreement. I think it's ridiculous. Let's go back and close it out from the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank. brfoodbank.org. brfoodbank.org is where you can find the website if you'd like to donate some time or some money here. It's been a great time for the Guarantee family here, celebrating 100 years in business here as Guarantee. And thanks to the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank for having us here on this Tuesday. I'm curious about the future of college football, kind of on the piggyback of the segment I just did there, but more so talking about what we watched last night with Indiana winning that national championship. And I said this at the top of my show. I don't think there are a lot of you that were listening at 105 that are still here at 247. But I said at the top of the show, like, it was a watershed moment for the sport because forever and ever, I just assumed there are like 15 teams that can do this and everybody else need not apply. And that barrier was broken through last night. And it was not broken through in terms of a fluke. It was not broken through because one player showed up and revolutionized an organization. It was broken through by quality talent assessment, by quality development, by excellent coaching and execution. And they did it for 2 years, and it culminated in beating Oregon twice, Ohio State, and Miami. There's nothing flukish about that. That is the best football team in college football, and it was made at the worst program in the power conferences. And I'm curious how often I can expect that to happen. My gut tells me not very often. But it also tells me that we're not done. Like, I think if you get the right coach and you get the right transfers, that this door is open to anybody. Now, it helps to have a huge stadium, and it helps to have fertile high school recruiting grounds. But what Vanderbilt has been the last 2 years is not a complete fluke. We'll see what they are without Pavia. But Ole Miss is no joke. Ole Miss has been completely irrelevant my entire life. My whole life, completely irrelevant. They were one of the best teams in college football 2 years in a row. Now, they didn't get it done 2 years ago. They lost to Kentucky, which they should have never done. And then we all watched that game in Tiger Stadium. We play that game 3 more times. I'm not sure Ole Miss doesn't win it 3 times. But LSU won that night. But they've been really good for 2 years. And they've been relevant for like 4. And so you look at Vanderbilt, you look at Ole Miss, you look at Indiana, and you look at the best teams in the sport, the Ohio States, the Georgias, the Bamas, the Texases, if you want to go there from last year. They're not as good as the Saban machines. They're not as good as those early Kirby machines. And so as the bottom of the sport rises and the top of the sport comes back, everybody gets a swing at this thing. And last night was a historic moment. I'm not ruling things out for a lot of programs around the country. You have to get the right guy and get the players. That's really hard to do. Not everybody's just going to wave a magic wand and Signetti this thing into the playoff. But there are teams in the power leagues that I thought had no chance for a long time. They got a chance now, and that was absolutely proven in the ball game last night. Taylor, I think I got you back there in the studio. I did not talk to you in the break because our headsets went a little haywire there. But do we have any take it or leave it's there?
Take it or leave
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
All right, Hunt. The Buffalo Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott. This was after another season failed to make it to the Super Bowl. He leaves Buffalo, though, with a 98-50 overall record, 8-8 in the postgame, including two AFC championship losses to the Chiefs. Buffalo made the right move. Take it or leave it. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it. I think they got a good coach. I think he did a good job. I think you're more likely to bring a bad coach. I talked about this yesterday. I understand the expectation when you got a quarterback that good, but I don't think that this was as stale as Tomlin in Pittsburgh, that this was as stale as Harbaugh in Baltimore, even though I don't think Harbaugh was all that stale. Tomlin, they had reached the ceiling. They were bumping their head on it constantly. I think it was time for another set of eyes there. I think that McDermott did a really good job in Buffalo, and this was not a season that failed. They lost a game in overtime on a crazy referee call. I don't think that he was the problem. I think that was too outcome based as opposed to process based. So I wouldn't have made the call.
Duke starting quarterback Darian Mensah is entering the NCAA transfer portal. He submitted his request Friday just ahead of that midnight deadline. He was entering the second year of a two-year deal with Duke that would pay him up to $4 million next season. If he leaves Duke, ESPN's Pete Thamel that his contract grants Duke his exclusive name, image, and likeness rights, which could prevent Mensah from earning revenue-sharing money at his next school unless the Blue Devils terminate his deal. Unless the Blue Devils terminate Miami, take it or leave it. Mensah to Miami, take it or leave it.
I mean, I got to leave it. I just can't imagine he's going to jump ship and not get a cent. That just doesn't seem like the best idea. Maybe there's enough NIL money that he can recoup. He just can't get the revenue sharing piece, and Miami can make him whole that way. Like, again, it's just very difficult to analyze something you don't fully have a grasp of because the information is not sitting in front of you. It's just something that I can't know unless somebody digs it up or somebody says it. So I know what Miami's doing. I know that they didn't get the quarterbacks they wanted out of the portal, so now they're just creating a free agent. That's what led me to the segment I just did. I just don't think that's a sustainable model. I don't think that's a good thing for the sport to have legal battles constantly over quarterbacks who may or may not want to leave school.
All right, I found this one for you. Reigning NCAA men's golf champion Michael Lasasso has joined the LIV Golf, senior year at Ole Miss, forfeiting his chance to play in this year's Masters. Hunt approves of this decision, take it or leave it.
Leave it. Guy had a chance to play in the freaking Masters, and he's going to play in a hit and giggle and Malaysia or wherever the heck they play LIV Golf that nobody watches and nobody cares about. We'll see. We'll see how long LIV exists and whether or not he's going to walk himself into a PGA Tour suspension. I just think it's incredibly short-sighted. I know there are probably a ton of people that are out there listening going, look at all the money that he's going to make, and it's guaranteed cash. And I understand how all this stuff works, but when you're that good, NCAA champion who's earned his way into the Masters and has a real shot to be on the PGA Tour, to jump to a dying league, I think is a mistake. But I don't know how much money he's getting, and we'll see how it all works out for him. Nobody's offering me that kind of cash, so I can't put myself in those shoes. But it's you're going to a dying product. We'll see.
All right, LeBron no longer an all-star starter. 21 consecutive years. It was announced he is not a starter. Is this a new day and age in the NBA? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I think LeBron's sunset is here. He's still really good. We talked about this yesterday that Jordan and I did. The fact that he made the All-NBA team 21 years in a row, was an All-NBA player as a teenager and beyond his 40th birthday. That's call it whatever you want. Call it GOAT. Call it greatest longevity. I don't care how you phrase it. What we've watched over the last 2 decades with him has been truly special. And I think that there are a lot of people that just don't like LeBron, so they'll diminish what we saw. We're not going to see this again. So I hope everyone's enjoyed it.
All right, that's it.
That's all we got. Appreciate you, Taylor, for making that happen. Appreciate the folks at the Greater Baton Rouge Food Bank for having all of us out here on this Tuesday. Remind you one more time about their website. You can schedule to volunteer if you check them out at brfoodbank.org. That's brfoodbank.org. Missed any of today's show? Catch it on demand wherever you find your sound.
At Arizona State University, we're bringing world-class education from our globally acclaimed faculty to you. Earn your degree from the nation's most innovative university. Online. That's a degree better. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.